Oh, hi, Mom.
I didn't know who was shooting.
Okay.
Wow.
Op 4 last
Wow.
stop standing.
This is going insane.
Broken?
That was it. Jump down.
I hit him! Woo! I broke him? No,
God
no,
damn.
dead. Oh! Some guy has a veto already.
Try this claim on side. Machine gun.
Oh!
Someone in there?
I do that shit. Holy shit. Oh! Oh!
Like we're all like great monsters down there.
Oh! I don't know who that is.
Kitchen?
Dude, nice.
Mikey?
I don't know who that is.
Op 4
I think that's
located a
Lion.
bomb. Protect it.
Out there.
The diffuser has been recovered.
Mirror's in office.
One friendly operator remaining.
Oh, nice.
Good job, good job.
Op 4 neutralized.
Full aim lock right there with. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I was on it. Sorry for the long intro. I just really wanted to showcase how much better I've gotten with my aim in first-person shooters over the past year, which, as you saw before, was not really I didn't have any talent, let's say. Hi, I'm Carl Unicorn, and I've spent the last year aim training every day, 20 minutes or more every single day on flicks, tracking, crosshair placement, you name it. Now, I started this little experiment because when I first got into PC gaming, which was almost 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, I was just really bad. I mean, I was mainly a console player and I didn't even play first-person shooters that much. I was a RPG kind of kid on the PS4. Mainly played just a bunch of Skyrim and was a big, bitty Argonian thoughts kind of lad. But as I started playing Rainbow Six Siege more, which is my FPS game of choice, actually, my friend bought me that game, which is also the friend that I bought my gaming PC from used. Here's a clip of him. Woo! Yes!
You saw that?
Yep.
You saw that?
Thanks, Brayden. I know it's a bit unjust if I don't mention your name somewhere in there. Anyway, I started having some real fun about the 200-hour mark when I was playing Rainbow Six Siege. And I saw some clips of Shroud and Bolo, and like many of their fans and players, I just wanted to try to be as good as them. Or at least have as great as aim as they do, which I think everyone who's seen their videos have been like, wow, maybe I can do that. Turns out, you can't. It's pretty difficult. I mean, I still suck at Rainbow Six Siege. I've been playing for a year. I have 1,200 hours in the game. I'm at Plat 3, which is like, yay, but also I'm stuck at Plat 3. So it's like, eh. Anyway, I've compiled a list of 3 different things that you should keep in mind while you're trying to get better at first-person shooters and trying to get better aim. This isn't a list about like the mechanical aspect of aiming. There's no tips or tricks on how to get better aim here, but this is kind of just what I've discovered through my year of playing and trying to get better and taking FPS games more seriously. So let's just jump right into it. Aim is not everything in-game. That's the short answer. That might be simple, but it's a topic I'd like to discuss in more detail. I've started categorizing FPS games as what percentage does aim matter. For example, CSGO would be about a 40% aim game, while Rainbow Six would be a 25 to 30% aim game. It's categorized like this in my head because it's a reminder that there is more to being a better player in an FPS game than simply having good aim. There are plenty of high ranking and pro players that have terrible KDs and subpar headshot percentages, but they're still amazing players. Sure, those kinds of players probably have good aim anyway, but it's not exactly their focus, and it really shouldn't be yours either. There are many other skills that need to be practiced just as much as aim, and depending on the game, those skills might be more important to winning and ranking up than it would be to just shoot someone really good in the head. I'm going to be comparing aim to learning how to play a musical instrument because I feel like learning how to play an instrument is very similar to learning how to use the mouse and keyboard. So I taught myself how to play the piano, and because I taught myself, I didn't really know what I was doing, and so I fell into that trap of seeing online covers of songs of really fast piano playing and fast arpeggios and really big octave jumps, and thinking that's how you play the piano and that's what a good piano player looks like, is someone who can just play really fast. So just because I practiced that mechanical side of piano playing doesn't mean I was any good at playing the piano at all or playing music at all. I sucked on so many other skills like sight reading, dynamics, music theory, the speed at which I can learn and read sheet music, or how chords work or how scale degrees work. Just because I learned the basics of playing the piano doesn't mean I was a good musician, just like learning the basics of aiming doesn't make you a good player. Map knowledge, game sense, utility use, movement skill are all just as important as learning how to click somebody on the head. In fact, clicking somebody's head is like the last process you do. You do all those other things first, so you put yourself in an advantageous position to kill the guy easier. There's no use in practicing 180-degree flicks because you should already be looking where your target is. Aiming is not really about the flashy flicks with pinpoint accuracy, although those moments are sweet, and good aim can be used to brute force a win when you really need it to. But that's like 10% of the time you'll be playing. You can get by with half decent aim for 90% of it, but you cannot get by with lack of map knowledge or poor decision making. I think good crosshair placement is really what makes the difference between a good player with good aim and a bad player who is all aim no brain. If you don't know what crosshair placement is, it's when you line up your crosshair to where the enemy should be, so like head level or crouching level, or alternatively commonly known positions and angles that you line up when you peek a corner. Now, you wouldn't consider a shot like that to be amazing aim or a really good flick, but it is how you should be netting at least half of your kills, because you're using your good aim and your map knowledge together in order to get those kills for free, basically. Now, do you need to have aim like Bowler or Shroud? I'd say no. There are plenty of other things you can practice to become a better player and to have a higher win rate. Do you still need to practice aim? Yeah, I think everyone can improve in that aspect, but you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to go overboard like I did and spend basically an hour every day just in some sort of bot mode in a game practicing. Because at the end of the day, that's not really what makes you win matches. Speaking of matches online, my next tip is something that I think everyone's heard from a friend or they've watched from a YouTube video, but it is an important tip. And that tip is to not blame the game all the time. Now, this always requires some sort of explanation, I think, because if you take it at face value, then it doesn't really make any sense. What if the game crashes, or someone in your team leaves the match, or you get hackers? How is it your fault that you were randomly paired up in a lobby with a blatant spin botter? How is that the game's fault? How can you not blame the game? Which is why I think that you shouldn't take the phrase literally. I think it's more of a guideline on how you react when negative things happen. Because this is the real world. Bad things will always happen. There's always a game crash. There's always a hacker. And unless a game dev makes the perfect game, which is I don't think will ever happen, that's just the life. The only thing you can really control is how you react when those things happen. Maybe for you like getting salty and tilted when a bad thing happens, but I don't like that. I don't like when something bad happens 5% of the time and that 5% ruins the rest of my experience with the game. That just it just doesn't feel good. And I'm betting for a lot of you that it doesn't feel good for you too. So don't focus too much on the bad. I mean, look at streamers and pro players that play the game like 10 hours a day. They're not tilted 100% of the time. Look at Shroud as a case study. When he dies or something bad happens to him, he just brushes it off most of the time.
We literally lost to these guys because of fucking lag. I'm gonna break something. Sorry.
Well, most of the time. He's not constantly angry or up at arms because he knows he has to play for 4 more hours, and being constantly angry is just not good for your health. I definitely have more fun when I'm in the mindset of trying to improve and brushing off anything bad that happens than when I'm just constantly angry at the game for not letting me win because I deserve it. And it's definitely made the past year of me playing more games to realize how important that really is. Now, for the last tip, I just wanted to add a little note here reminding you, the viewer, to take care of yourself. Most likely gaming isn't your main career, and even if it is, that's when you should be the most adamant about taking care of your mental and physical health. That means doing just a little bit of research on how to sit healthily, desk ergonomics, how long you should play and how often you should take short rests. Grinding for 8 hours a day is not how you get good, it's how you get arthritis. And if you want to continue gaming when you're 50 plus, you need to take care of yourself. Unless in 50 plus years we're all in like VR and just using our mind to play video games. But until then, you gotta take care of your body and just don't die. Please don't die. Do not die of gaming. Please. Just don't die. Exercise moderately, eat healthy food or eat junk food, but just like a little bit at a time. Drink some water. If you're angry, you take a break, you come back at it later. Just these are points that yeah. So what's in store for this year? Will I still be grinding up Siege, trying to get to high platinum, diamond, or even champion? Highly unlikely, but maybe. Or will I be finding a new FPS game like Project A that's coming out soon and play that for 1,000 more hours? Who knows? All I know is that I've actually really been enjoying trying to get better at this little side project, and with how shooters work and how transferable those skills are from game to game, I feel like any other FPS shooter I choose, I'll be okay at and I'll have fun, and that's kind of good to know. And I think that's probably just the end of it. Just get better and play more games and have fun with video games, because that's really what video games are about. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Leave a like if you learned something new, or if you just like the sound of my voice, I guess. Comment below actually if you're trying to aim train. I want to see how other people are doing and what their experiences are like. And if you want to watch more videos like this, just subscribe that button, hit the bell icon. I'll just see you guys next time.
Personality, if they're a kind-hearted person, I'm fine with it.
Oh, the personality. No, it's a tit side.
Box to fill you in, the personality to make you stay.
I'm with Brad. Yeah, look, if they're fucking over the age of 12, it's just not on. Sorry.